Well, hey there, Get Up and Go Challenge, 40-day challenge, day 41. What do you mean, day 41? What are you doing, Sharon? Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. And of course, I decided during the Get Up and Go Challenge, the 40-day challenge, that I was going to share the soaP framework. And the soaP framework, of course, teaches us how to have an automatic process for handling challenges and failures and upsets and obstacles and roadblocks and things that get in our way of what we want, or just plain changes. Anytime there's a change in our life, changes can be good or bad, but positive change can be just as stressful as negative change if we don't have a process and a way of handling it. Some of us are awesome. Okay, I'm not one of them. Some people are awesome at handling change and handling challenges. Other people not so much, and like me, I had to practice it and figure out a way to make sure that I would be better off after a change or a challenge than before it came into my life. Because guess what? No matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter how rich you are, no matter how smart you are, no matter how talented you are, each and every human being on the planet, our life is all about experiences, and experiences are change and challenge. And sometimes if they're negative, we call them failures or obstacles. If they're positive, we call them opportunities. But guess what? Opportunities can bring stress and challenge too. So we want to have a process that becomes so automatic for us that it's in our subconscious, and whenever something pops up, we just automatically run that process. And for me, that process is soaP, cleaning things up so that I guarantee my results are always better at the end of a change or a challenge than they were going into that situation. Now, I decided during the middle of this, not even during the middle of this, early on, that instead of just going through one area or aspect of our life and using that as examples as I went through the challenge, I wanted to show, and not secretly, I think I said right out, I wanted to make sure that I was working on all these areas and aspects of my life as well, and going through the soaP model on a conscious level. So demonstrating it for you not only helps, but I think it helped me as well, because there were areas of my life, just like all of us, that were really on the back burner and I wasn't paying very much attention to. And probably contribution is one of those areas of my life, as I've been thinking about it consciously in the last couple of days, that I've been doing things in, but I've been doing them not really, kind of on a subconscious level, just kind of going through the motions, moving toward what I want and being a better contributor to making the world a better place, but just moving toward that, not purposefully and specifically, but just because it's the direction of my life, if that makes sense. So I wanted to be more intentional about what I'm doing. And I think that what helps us do that, and it's a little bit off track, we're going to talk about the P in soaP today, and that of course means progress, making progress toward what it is that we want. But I think what's helped me the most is to have not only short-term, what am I doing right now to impact that area of my life, but what is my long-term vision of my future and what I ultimately want my life to look like in any of these areas of my life. So with respect to contribution, what do I want and how do I want to make the world a better place? I don't know. I used to believe that everybody wants to make the world a better place, and then my mom and my sisters beat into me that no, everybody doesn't want that. So anyway, I hang out with the people that want to make the world a better place. So I think everybody wants to make the world a better place. But to me, that's my long-term vision. But what does making the world a better place look like to me and my long-term vision of that? So when we're coming up with things of course we came up with options and all the possible things we can do to move toward that and make progress toward what it is that we want. But if we don't have, and I guess on day one of looking at this specific area under the S, we look at where we are now and where we want to be. I just want to make sure that we are having a overall global long-term vision of what we want our life to look like, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, with respect to our relationships, and with respect to how we're showing up in the world, our contribution, what we're here to do, create, what our true purpose is. Now, I chased down purpose for a lot of years, especially before, because I always envied people, and guess what? Envying other people, and I wasn't to the level of jealous, but I envied people that had pure raw talent and knew what they wanted to do with their life from a really young age. So, people that were musically talented, artistically talented, great writers, that just were automatically knew what their talent was and would become masters of that, I would look at them in awe, maybe awe and wonder more than envy, but I would say, oh, I'm not good at anything. How many of us have sat down and said, I'm not good at anything. I wish I knew what my purpose was. I wish I knew what I was here to do. And guess what? The more we say that, the more we think that, the more we believe that, the more we push away what it is, and the more we don't even see or realize what it is that our purpose is here on the planet. And finally, after lots of years of study, I realized that for me and for everybody else on the planet, if we tell ourselves and if we know with 100% certainty that our purpose, our mission is to be ourselves, to be our unique selves and experience this life as only we uniquely can. That is, we're already fulfilling that, right? So we're already successful. We're already fulfilling our purpose. Now that is a way of looking at it in a positive way to open ourselves up to seeing the opportunities, seeing the things that are for us to help us contribute to the world and make the world a better place. But if we're always blocking and we can't even see because we're envying people that already have this great talent or this great skill or these great abilities, if you want to be an athlete, you look at all and we tend to compare ourselves to others, right? It's human nature. Not a good practice, by the way. I mean, one of the biggest ways to feel, the fastest ways to feel bad about yourself is to compare yourself to other people. Compare yourself to other anythings, right? And remember, if we're comparing ourselves to anyone, we're never comparing apples to apples. We're comparing apples to avocados. They're totally different, right? Because we don't know their experience. We're only comparing ourselves with one aspect of them. It's like if you compare yourself to somebody by weight. Oh, that person's in such great physical shape. Or physical abilities, athletic ability. I don't ever compare myself to people with athletic ability because I would always come up short and I would always feel bad and I would never try or do anything. And that actually plays out in every aspect of our life. If I compare myself to the Bill Gates Foundation, Bill and Melinda Gates, and the billions of dollars that they give to charity, and that's how I define contribution, I would never think that I would measure up. And so then I would say, well, why even try? Why give anything to anything? Why try to create anything positive in the world? So we have to be careful about comparing ourselves to other people. Each and every one of us are unique and special and different, and that's on purpose. That's by design. So contribution, P. The P in soaP today, again, is for progress. I like to do, and I show this probably every time I go to P because it's one of my best graphics. It's because it's such a mess. But I started doing a lifeline exercise. I don't even remember where I learned or where I first did this exercise. I know I've done it several times in my life and been taught it by several different gurus and teachers and coaches and mentors. I can't remember where I first learned it. It could have been Louis Tice training. It could have been value-based training. I don't remember where it was, but it's a great exercise, and I've done it, several times sporadically throughout my life. But now is a good time. 2020 is a good time to be introspective, to sit down and look at our priorities and say, what is really important to me? And most of us, a lot of us, have been living our lives in terms of other people's expectations of us. I did that for decades. What should I be doing to be a good mother? What should I be doing to be a good wife? What should I be doing to be a good person? And that was like a filter through which every thought, every action was run through. It's like running, the water off your noodles in a strainer. Everything was run through that filter of should, not necessarily what was the best thing and the right thing and the best thing for me as a human being and as an individual. So this is one of those exercises that's really, really powerful. It doesn't take but a minute or two. Just draw a straight line. I always like to put the year I was born and then the current year, and I just draw. I think about the area that I'm working on, this time contribution, and I have not done contribution yet. I will do that today because it's a quick and easy action that you can do. And sometimes I think, okay, we should do this as part of the S, where I am now and where I want to go. But we can do it anywhere in the process, right? We don't even have to do it at all. But I like doing it because it gives me a visual way of looking at how I'm personally today, or whatever date I do it, looking at that area or aspect of my life. Now, I would say, contribution-wise, I am actually, and I didn't even realize it on a conscious level, I am doing so much more now to make the world a better place and to contribute to the world and to show up as myself than I ever was, 20 years ago. When I was in corporate America and running businesses on the side, I was doing a lot of stuff. I had a lot of activity going on. From the outside looking in, it looked very, very successful, very, very positive, very, very, I don't even know how to describe it, but it looked perfectly awesome from the outside. Yet on the inside, was I really contributing a lot to the rest of the world? I was taking care of myself, taking care of my family, taking care of the people I love and care about. But beyond that, donating to charities, yes, absolutely, positively every year. Doing some things, but nothing like the way I'm contributing time and energy and resources now to the world, to the people I care about, and to impacting other people in the world, not just my close-knit people I love and care about. So I didn't even realize that until I started thinking about this area and aspect of my life. Because sometimes we think, oh, I'm not doing anything, I'm not contributing anything. And then I look back and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I did all these things, and I've actually impacted, and I don't know if it's been positive or negative. Hey, people who listen to my podcast might say, hey, you're nuts. You're totally contributing to the noise and the nonsense in the world. I don't know. Because most people don't tell you or give you feedback on what they really think or why they listen to or why they do what they do. But I love this exercise, so today I am committing right now that I'm going to clean up my timeline. I'm going to do it for each area and aspect of my life, and I'll have a date. And I think that at least once a year, I want to say quarterly, but let's commit to something that I know I'll do. At least once a year, I'm going to look at and do my lifeline exercise. And I'm going to do it not just for one area of my life, but I'm going to pick a different color, because I like color, and do all 7 areas: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, and contribution. Why do I keep saying these over and over again? Because I want to make sure you're not forgetting anything. There's lots of times in my life where physical well-being, that was just out the window. And to be honest, if we don't have our physical well-being, if we don't have our health, if we don't have our energy, we've got nothing. And my lack of attention to that in different periods of my life, something would happen to get my attention. If I was paying so little attention to my sleep, to my eating, to my drink, what I drank, to my health, the world, the universe, God, whoever would give me a wake-up call and some kind of a health challenge, and that was like, oh, guess what? You're not paying any attention to your physical well-being. Come on back in, rein it in, and then guess what happens? When that happens, everything else falls by the wayside, and you have to give all your attention to that one thing. Not the best way from a long-term strategy to focus on that. So progress, lifeline exercise, love that. Progress, one of the best ways to create and make sure, and part of why I think contribution is sort of on autopilot for me, is I have set things up to automatically do things that contribute to the world, that share information and things, and that have me automatically giving value and giving money and giving resources to different aspects and different things in my life. And I've set those up over many, many years so that it's automatic. But you make things automatic by creating a system or a habit or a process in your life to make things automatic. So when you find something that works, or habits, create a habit. When I got a morning routine that works, I would keep doing it until I found something better, and it would improve my morning ritual. Part of, I'm not going to go into my morning ritual because it does change over time. It definitely changed during COVID-19. What I did before the pandemic as a morning routine had to change when not the isolation, but when the quarantines and things came in place, because now my granddaughter hangs out with me 5 days a week, and she comes first thing in the morning so that her folks can work, and that means that my morning routine, which normally would take a couple of hours because I love the morning, I'm a morning person, had to be squished and had to be altered and changed around. One main thing I can for sure was I like to exercise in the morning. Every day I've got arthritis and inflammation and stuff like that, and I've learned over the years that physically I need to move every day. I need to do something, I need to exercise, I need to move every day. For me, it's best if I do that first thing in the morning. Well, with the little lady coming every morning 5 days a week, that's not an option, so I had to change that around. So now my movement comes at the end of the day after she goes home, which isn't optimal for me, but guess what? It's working fine. It'll get me through this pandemic, and then when she's in school, guess what's going to happen? My exercise is going back to my morning routine. So we set up systems and procedures and processes and things to automate and to delegate. Guess what? there are so many things that I have offlined and gotten out of my little red wagon that I used to think that I had to do everything myself. But there's a lot of things that I just choose not to do anymore. They're still important. They're still urgent in some cases. They still have to get done, but I don't physically have to be the person that does them. That was a biggie for me, a personal development biggie, was giving myself permission to not think that I had to do everything myself. And, with respect to progress, we need to cut ourselves some slack and know that when we first start doing things to improve any area of our life, we're not going to get it right every time we try something, right? We're going to try and try and try, and we're going to fail, and then we're going to learn from that, and we're going to do something else, try something else. The key to success in any area or aspect of our life or anything is to keep moving forward, keep attempting things, keep taking action, keep figuring it out. And the only person that can actually figure out what will positively work for you is you. People can coach us, they can guide us, they can tell us to do and try things, but just because it worked for them does not mean with 100% certainty that it'll work for us. Just because I love the Lifeline exercise, it might do nothing for you. You might be like, what a waste of my 5 minutes that was. That didn't show me anything. Now, if something doesn't show you anything, that's showing you something, right? When I think, well, that was a waste of time, I'm not looking for what could I have learned from that, or I'm not looking at why am I rejecting that? Why do I think that that thing was a complete and utter waste of my time? Well, it's usually because there's something in it that I don't want to see, that I don't want to acknowledge, that I don't want to learn from. But that's all just about me. So take everything you see and observe and learn in life with a grain of salt. Filter it through the thoughts and your brain, your mind, your intellect, and just continue to learn and grow through it. And that will help you in any situation. So contribution, our action item today, whatever area or aspect of your life you're working on, is to share one thing in the comments below, just one thing that you, and maybe you haven't figured it out yet. Like, I don't know what my one thing moving forward with respect to contribution is going to be. I think it's probably going to be something with sharing knowledge, sharing wisdom on a regular basis. I don't know, though. I haven't decided yet. That's my action item today, is I have to pick what is one thing that I'm going to move forward doing in the area of contribution. What is one thing that you think, even if you haven't tried it out yet, you're trying to still figure out and work out exactly what it's going to look like for you. What is one thing that you can automate and put in place, or make a habit, or delegate to somebody to ensure it gets done to improve the area or aspect of your life you're working on? For me, for example, in finances, one of the things I made sure that would get done was that I outsourced the accounting aspects of my business and my life to an expert in the area of finance. And I outsourced all that and let them deal with all the day-to-day things that are important to get done. But again, I don't have to be the one that does that. And if I were going through this challenge and I decided, hey, I need to outsource some of my accounting, I might not have had that done yet to comment, but you can comment in the comments, hey, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm outsourcing my accounting, or I am delegating my social media handling for Reddit to a VA, or whatever. It could be anything. Depends on the area and the aspect of your life that you're working on. But I'll share in the comments below what action I'm going to take to make a habit or systemize or the process I'm going to use in the area of contribution. When I come up with it, I haven't figured it out yet. That's my assignment for today, just like your assignment for today. Tomorrow, I know it's day 41. I tend to run over on things. Instead of doing a question and answer tomorrow I'd like to just collect questions, and Monday we'll do a live. I'm not sure what time yet, probably whenever I can get my amazing little granddaughter occupied with something. We will hop on. I'm thinking I shoot for 11 a.m. Obviously that's the best time to do challenges, because you'll notice if you're online at all, there's this huge proliferation of challenges popping up Maybe we can talk about that tomorrow. But they're all at 11 a.m. 11 a.m. seems to be the time that people like to do them. I like to do them because it used to be the perfect time when my granddaughter was in preschool, which is why I picked 11 a.m. was I could do it uninterrupted. And now sometimes she's super active at that time. Sometimes I can get her interested in a project or doing something else and go live. But sometimes she just peeks her little head in and participates with me as well. That's it. Progress today. What progress can you make from our soap model? Man, I know what we'll do tomorrow. Tomorrow, I obviously don't want to stop doing this. Tomorrow, I will pop on and talk about, I'll just do a review. I'll do a summary and a review, and we'll wrap some things up. I'd like to do over next week, I'd like to do a Q&A for a couple of days, give feedback if you're having challenges on anything in the soap model or have questions about that or want to work through your specific area. And if if you're brave enough to do it in front of other people, that would be ideal, because guess what? Some of the best ways we learn is by realizing other people are having the same conversations in their head as we are. Other people are having the exact same questions and challenges about how to handle challenges as we are, and we can learn so much from one another just by going through each other's examples. So I'd love some people that would volunteer to go through that in a couple of examples as part of the Q&A. Otherwise, we will do a lessons learned. I've got some lessons learned. We can do the biggest mistakes that happen with challenges, a Q&A, a review and a summary, and best practices, things like that. So I'll keep going over the next week just because I haven't decided what my next step is, what my next thing is for the Get Up and Go Challenge. And that actually adds value, but it also gives me a week to think about clearly. And usually when I don't know what I'm going to do next, if I just let it sit, it comes to me and I know the exact right thing to do next. After I finished the 30-day Get Up and Go Challenge, I wasn't sure what I was going to do next or do with it. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I'm going to do a 5-day or a 10-day challenge. Did that. And then during that time frame, the 40-day opportunity came up and said, hey, everybody needs to do a 40-day challenge, which is probably part of why there's so many challenges right now. Everybody's doing a challenge as part of their do something in 40 days challenge to get up and go, to move your life ahead, to make sure that you're not just frozen in place because there's things outside of you that are changing. Because guess what? There's always things outside of us that are changing all the time. We just aren't necessarily all aware of them simultaneously like we have been with the pandemic, the COVID-19 stuff. All right, any questions? Any questions, hit me up in the comments below. Anything I can help you with, please ask. If you're struggling or stuck on absolutely anything that has anything to do with any challenges, ask the question, right? I've got literally hundreds of thousands of challenges under my belt, hundreds of actual challenges helping other people overcome their challenges, actually thousands of challenges, thousands of solutions, thousands of problems solved. Kind of my jam. I like doing it. I love looking for solutions. So many people are focused on the problem, and if we're focused on the problem, we never figure it out. If we're focused on solutions, we always figure it out way faster than we ever even thought was possible. Well, have an absolutely amazing day, and I will be with you tomorrow with just a quick summary and review of what we've covered so far, so we can figure out, do you have questions? Is there anything that's hanging you up? Or have you been able to, like me, put this process into your subconscious, and you can test it. Every day something comes up, right? You can test it, and maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow too. How do you know if this is working for you now on autopilot like it works for me? All right, have a great day. I will be with you tomorrow. Bye. Day 42.